Hare Krishna, who's there?
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Manasi Ganga. Who is this?
Yeah, how are you?
Who is this?
I'm Ruchi.
Oh, Hare Krishna Ruchi Mataji.
Yeah, I had a really bad migraine since yesterday. My migraine is like so bad. Today the whole day I've been sleeping the whole day. Yesterday night I couldn't sleep. So
I'm sorry. Oh. You were on the call yesterday though, yeah? If I remember correctly, yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll wait another 2 minutes and we'll start.
Do you chant in the morning with Linda Mandaji?
Not with Linda, I was with Leela Manjari and Shanti. I think I put you on the thing as well. I don't think that Govardhan Leela is back yet, is she?
No, but Leela Manjari said she's chanting with Shanti Mataji on the WhatsApp group they've made separately.
Well, this morning, I was with Leela Manjari. Well, Shanti came on first and then Leela Manjari. So I got off at 6:30, so I don't know if maybe she joined thereafter, possibly. I'm not sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept
Hare
my
Krishna.
humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Dev. Who is this?
With my humble obeisances, all glories to Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. This is Janma Mataji and Leela Manjari. Both of us
Hare
are on.
Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna Janava Mataji. Should we start?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, okay. Mataji, please.
Okay, so let's start with the prayers, and then from there we can go into the verse. Okay. Om Jnana Tiranandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshu Umilitanyena Taisma Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistan Stapitan Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Katarmayam Tatati Svapatantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhya cha Kripa Sindhu Bhaeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswati Yasam Tato Jayam Udurayat Nasapa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati. The class that I go to on Fridays, he has a couple more verses. I'm going to try to sing them, and I know Leela Manjari probably knows them. So it's Ek Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopita Gopika Kate Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrinda Breshpari Krisha Bandhu Sute Devi Pranamama Hari Praye. Okay, so what we're reading today is Canto 2, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 10, Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions, verse 41. And so this has 6 lines, so I'm not sure how to sing it, so I will just read the Sanskrit. Sattvam rajas tamaiti tisra sura narakaha tatrapi ikaikasto rajan vidyante gataya srida yadaikai katar anyan piyam svabhava upahanyate. Translation: according to the different modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of darkness, there are different living creatures who are known as demigods, human beings, and hellish living entities. O king, even a particular mode of nature, being mixed with the other 2, is divided into 3, and thus each kind of living creature is influenced by the other modes and acquires its habits also. Purport by...
May I interrupt for 1 second? Everyone on the line, can you please mute yourself? Thank you.
Let me see. It might be on my side. I'll ask my daughter to be a little quiet. Okay, so purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The living entities individually are being conducted by a particular mode of nature, but at the same time, there is every chance of their being influenced by the other 2. Generally, all conditioned souls in the material engagement are influenced by the mode of passion, because every one of them is trying to lord it over the material nature to fulfill his individual desire. But in spite of the individual mode of passion, there is always the chance of being influenced by the other modes of nature by association. If one is in good association, he can develop the mode of goodness. And if in bad association, he may develop the mode of darkness or influence, mode of darkness or ignorance. Nothing is stereotyped. One can change his habit by good or bad association, and one has to become intelligent enough to discriminate between good and bad. The best association is the service of the devotees of the Lord. And by that association, one can become the highest qualified man by the grace of the Lord's pure devotees. As we have already seen in the life of Srila Narada Muni, he became the topmost devotee of the Lord by the association of pure devotees of the Lord. By birth, he was the son of a maidservant and had no knowledge of his father and no academic education, even of the lowest status. But simply by associating with the devotees and by eating the remnants of their foodstuff, he gradually developed the transcendental qualities of the devotees. By such association, his taste for chanting and hearing the transcendental glories of the Lord became prominent. And because the glories of the Lord are non-different from the Lord, he got direct association with the Lord by means of sound representation. Similarly, there's the life of Ajamila, 6th canto, who was the son of a Brahmana and was educated and trained properly in the discharge of the duties of a Brahmana, but who, in spite of all this, because he contacted the bad association of a prostitute, was put into the path of the lowest quality of Kandala, or the last position for a human being. Therefore, the Bhagavatam always recommends the association of Mahat, or the Great Soul, for opening the gate of salvation. To associate with persons engaged in lording it over the material world means to enter into the darkest region of hell. One should try to raise himself by the association of the great soul. That is the way of the perfection of life. Okay, so back to the translation. We're hearing that there are three different modes of material nature: the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, the mode of darkness. And there's also three different types of living creatures: the demigods, the human beings, the hellish living entities. But even a particular mode of nature, being mixed with the other two, is divided into three. And thus each kind of living creature is influenced by the other modes and acquires its habits also. So what we're hearing is that in the living entities, you know, there are these three kinds, and there's three different kinds of modes of nature, that these modes of nature don't remain like pure in that they mix with one another. So one person who may be predominantly of one mode of nature, let's say passion, you know, as said in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that, you know, human beings are predominated by this mode of. We're also going to have this mode of passion is also going to be blending or mixing with the other two modes. And it says that each particular mode of nature is divided then into three, because it's going to have strings or it's going to have some blending of the other two. Okay, so into the purport. It says that the living entities are typically going to be influenced by a particular mode of nature. But at that same time, the other two modes of nature are also going to influence that living entity. Conditioned souls, us, who are encaged by our material bodies, are typically under the influence of the mode of passion. And the symptoms of that is that we are always trying to lord over material nature to fulfill our desires, which are apart from trying to fulfill the desires of the Lord. So as a living entity, as a conditioned soul, typically there's that mode of passion. We're forever trying to fulfill our desires, but as we're hearing, the other modes of nature are also present and influencing us. And how does one become influenced by the other modes, or even that mode of nature? It's through association. If one has good association, if one is able to associate with pure souls or someone who is elevated on the path of bhakti, then he will be developing the mode of goodness. And if one is in bad association, what's going to happen is that he's going to be developing the mode of darkness or ignorance. But Srila Prabhupada says nothing is stereotyped. So to say that, you know, us as conditioned souls, we're only being influenced by the mode of passion, that he says nothing is stereotyped. There's not like just one particular mode that is predominating. You know, we're all slightly different, you know, different percentages of being influenced, but we are being influenced. We're here. And Srila Prabhupada goes on to state that one can change his habit by good or bad association. and one has to become intelligent enough to discriminate between good and bad. So here we are. These modes of nature are, we've heard a couple verses back, these modes of nature are attached to our senses and and influence our mind. And if we have the intelligence, now those are all different parts of the subtle body. You know, there's the soul proper, there's intelligence, there's the mind, there's the senses. So if the mind is able to control, if the intelligence, if one is able to discriminate, if one has the intelligence, one is able to affect one's mind, which can, in essence, control the senses. And that's how one, makes changes in one's life. It says that, and so how are you making these changes? How is this intelligence becoming sharper and more focused on this path of bhakti? It's through good association. And so Srila Prabhupada says that the best association is the service of the devotees of the Lord. So to serve a pure devotee, to serve just devotees at one's own level, above and even below, it is good. But of course, the best would be to associate with pure devotees. And by that association, one can become the highest qualified man by the grace of the Lord's pure devotees. So service is good at whatever level, but to serve the Lord pure devotees, one becomes more influenced by their own composition of who they are, if as opposed to someone who has little bhakti, someone who's a pure devotee and is filling their life and their mind and their heart with the Lord, and is forever trying to please the Lord. There, in that type of person, service to that type of person, one has the best outcome, because they have the potential, they have the capacity to influence us, so that, bringing us closer and out of the mode of ignorance and hopefully passion, closer to the mode of goodness. And ultimately the hope is to transcend even the modes. So we are given the example of Srila Narada Muni, and he was a topmost devotee of the Lord. And how did he become a topmost devotee? It was simply by association of pure devotees. Narada Muni was born to an unwed maidservant, so he had no training, he had no culture, he had no, he did not even know who his father was. But because he would his mother would serve these elevated persons, and he would sit by and he would hear the Krishna Katha that was going on. He would hear, and he would take the remnants. And just by those two things, he gradually developed the transcendental qualities of a devotee. And so that shows the potency of being influenced by someone who is a pure devotee of the Lord. by one receptively hearing the pure devotees and trying to serve them and eating the remnants, one becomes changed for the better. It says, by such association, his taste for chanting and hearing the transcendental glories of the Lord became prominent. So by hearing the transcendental glories of the Lord, his taste increased. And by hearing their chanting the Lord, the name of the Lord, his taste increased. And why is that? Because of the absolute quality of the name and the quality of, just hearing of the Lord. The potency is there because the Lord himself is non-different from his glories. Srila Prabhupada goes on even to say that just by hearing the glories and chanting the glories, and hearing the chanting of pure devotees, he got direct association with the Lord by means of the sound representations. So just this being orally receptive to what is being discussed by especially pure devotees has such potency. And then Srila Prabhupada talks about the life of Ajamila. Now, Ajamila was born into, this is the complete opposite. So Narada Muni was influenced positively, where Ajamila, he was influenced negatively. He was the son of a Brahmana, he was educated, he was trained, and but he saw, I guess, someone, I don't know what was happening, or he just saw a prostitute, right? Through that bad association with the prostitute, he was put into the path of lowest quality of Kandala. Kandala, I believe, is a dog eater, or the lowest or the last position for a human being. So association, we're hearing, is so very important. It can affect us positively or negatively. And then Prabhupada goes on to say that the Bhagavatam always recommends the association of the Mahatma being an elevated soul, or the great soul, for opening the gates of salvation. So it's through association with those who are purely following the path that our own path towards the Lord is being paved for us to walk upon. It says, to associate with persons engaged in lording it over the material world means to enter into the darkest region of hell. So if we make the choice to associate with materialists, through that association, we're going to be entering into that place where these people are going to ultimately be destined through their actions, through their consciousness. When we associate with them, we become contaminated as well. And so it's like, they're pulling us along. If we're talking about negatively, they're pulling us along into the darkest region of hell, whereas a pure devotee is, through his association, he's pulling us along into hopefully to the goal, prayojana, which is Krishna Prema. One should try to raise himself by the association of the great soul. that is the way of the perfection of life. And so we have choice in who we associate with. My mom used to always say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. In other words, association is very, very strong. It has the potential to change people, to bring them along. So here we go. So I was reading something, and this is coming from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's 10 Esoteric Truths of the Vedas. I ordered a bunch of books, enjoying reading them. And I was reading something that kind of tied into this, and I wanted to read this and discuss. And this is about Brahma Sampradaya, the maintainer of the Vedic religion. He's continuing something, and so, but I'm gonna jump in at this point. It says, from this statement, we can clearly understand that the disciplic succession, the parampara, called the Brahma Sampradaya, has been flowing down to the present time from the very dawn of creation. The feature of this Sampradaya is that the unadulterated knowledge of the Vedas has been handed down in an unbroken chain of spiritual preceptors, and has thus sustained religious principles, devotion to the Supreme Lord. This unadulterated knowledge is amnaya. Those persons who do not accept the bona fide nature of the Brahma Sampradaya, disciplic succession, cannot inspire faith in the evidence of the scriptures. Brahma, the creator of the universe, is the disciple of the Lord of the spiritual sky. Persons who do not accept this are referred to in the Srimad Bhagavatam as teachers of the atheistic viewpoint. Furthermore, those who accept the Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sampradaya from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but secretly deny the self-perfected process of Guru Parampara, disciplic succession, are certainly no better than the followers of Kali Yuga, the age of degradation. In truth, only the most fortunate of souls recognize the unadulterated Vedic knowledge flowing down to us through an unbroken chain of spiritual masters as the best of all evidences. This is Sri Chaitanya's first lesson. Srila Jiva Goswami writes in the Tattva Sandarbha, quote, the following evidences are presented to ascertain the symptoms of Sambandha, relationship with Krishna as the central figure, Abhadeya, the direct process of achieving him, devotional service, and Prayojana, the indispensable necessity, Krishna Prema. By nature and construction, human beings are controlled by four inherent shortcomings: illusion, mistakes, cheating, and falsehood. This limits them from experiencing the inconceivable and extraordinary transcendental phenomena. The methods of knowledge they have access to and offer, such as direct sensual perception and subsequent theorization, are automatically faulty. Thus, direct perception and inference cannot be included as perfectly authentic evidence. However, for the scientifically minded seekers of the truth, the only substantive source of evidence is the Vedas, because it has been transmitted since time immemorial through an unbroken chain of self-realized and eternally perfected spiritual masters, who are the repositories of both material and spiritual knowledge. Their words are supramundane, that means above the mundane, and transcendental to mundane scrutiny, providing shelter to all seekers, and their knowledge possesses an inconceivably extraordinary nature and influence. So, so what we just read was that here in disciplic succession, this unbroken treasure house is what we need to be doing. So yesterday, I'm going to try to tie it in with what we're reading. Yesterday, Primarasa she was talking about the three elements of the subtle body. She was talking about how there's the soul proper, and this soul proper is covered by intelligence, mind, and senses. And the hope is that we're trying to cultivate this discriminating power of intelligence so that our intelligence, so influenced by a discriminating power, it is able to control the mind, and with the mind being the seat of our thinking, our willing, our feeling. So if the intelligence controls the mind, which thinks, wills, and feels, has the potential to control our senses. And so if the senses are being controlled by a mind which is being controlled by intelligence, then our actions and our words are potentially going to be, if the intelligence is discriminating, and if the intelligence is coming from intelligent sources, such as the Vedas, if it's coming from intelligent sources, such as our acharyas or our spiritual masters, it has the potential, through that subtle body to change our actions and our words. It has the potential to change who and what we are. Because somewhere between this mind and the senses, so of our repeated actions and words. So if our mind, through samskars, if they continually prompt us to act in a certain way, in other words, if we are being influenced by certain modes, these repeated actions, these repeated words, Srila Prabhupada, he talks about a habit that, that the spiritual masters, that the acharyas, that the Vedas, it has the potential to change those habits. And that's through associating with those sources. So, and we heard about Narada Muni, how through good association, he became a devotee, and how someone who was on a path of, a Jamila, who's on the path of realization, he was trained as a Brahmana, but yet he chose. So that we're hearing that choice is a very important desire, choice. So not all of us have access, like Narada Muni, to these elevated souls, but to be able to serve them directly. But we do have, instead of Vapu, we have Vani. We can serve the instructions of the great souls. So here I'm even so far away from devotees. I found some devotees. Well, Leela Madre found some for me, but it's, what does one do if one does not have these elevated souls to serve directly? One needs to follow their instructions, and their instructions are both general, which is like follow the four regs, chant, and to chant means to chant in a prayerful mood, the mood of love, the mood of surrender, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to discuss Krishna Katha. So, and then of course, individual instructions from the spiritual master as well. And so all these things, it's that same sound vibration that Narada Muni benefited from, the sound vibration that's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that's in the chanting of the holy names, the hearing of the kirtan, the hearing the instructions. That same sound vibration, Krishna appears to us. 38 after. Okay, so this habit that Srila Prabhupada talks about, this tendency of being controlled by the three modes of nature, can be redirected by sharpening one's intelligence, by being influenced by good association. And I think there was a prayer in here that I just wanted to read, and it was a prayer by page 40. This was a prayer that Bhaktivinoda included, and it comes from Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's the prayers of the personified Vedas. And so it says, the personified Vedas said, O Krishna, victory, victory to you, O unconquerable one. Kindly destroy that unborn illusory energy called Maya, who assumes control over the modes of nature to create difficulties for the conditioned souls. You are always the Lord and Master of all opulence by the influence of your internal spiritual potency. In both the moving and the non-moving beings, you awaken their own energy. The Vedic literature describes you in two features, your direct illusory potency Maya, and when you perform your Raj pastimes in conjunction with your internal spiritual potency. I wanted to just share that, in that that through prayer, that also is another way to hopefully, to ask the Lord to purify us. We're being so influenced by these modes of nature, and to ask Him to help us along, so that we can hear from good association, and we can walk, along that same path that they have traversed. So that's pretty much what I have to say. Please add, please correct, please, whatever. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Manasi Ganga Mataji. It was a beautiful class, and it's such an important point for us in Krishna consciousness to have good association. And as you were speaking about good association, I was thinking, what does good association really mean? We go into the temple sometimes, and then we are sitting with devotees and we are talking. Is that like really good association? I honestly don't know how to define it, but I think within the purport that Prabhupada has described that by the influence of the thoughts, I think you said it very nicely. You said the association of pure devotees has the power to change our subtle body, our thoughts and desires. So, I think what I'm trying to get at is it's very subtle of how the association of a person influences us, but I think we have to make a very big effort to become good association for others. Mm-hmm. And that's a important part of us associating with each other as devotees, because look at the amount of change that came about as an influence of by the influence of Srila Prabhupada on his disciples. I was hearing about one particular devotee, Shyamasundar Prabhu, and he was dealing drugs before he met Prabhupada, and he became like such a nice devotee of Krishna. He has so much appreciation and love for Srila Prabhupada. So this can happen to us, but I'm thinking like certainly like the association of pure devotees is very important, but how about association of devotees who are at our level, whom we interact with every day, and how do we associate with them? So I think the best way to associate is through reading, for me at least, it is through reading Srila Prabhupada's books and chanting together with devotees. And also there is room to talk about practical affairs, but we have to be very careful when it comes to practical affairs, because sometimes we can go down the road of criticizing other devotees because of how we feel, or how a particular devotee is interfering with our service. Like these are things that we encounter on a day-to-day basis, especially when we are in close association of devotees. And I think it's very important to watch out, like how we react to such situations, and the kind of association that we are in when we are in such situations, because I think even in such practical day-to-day affairs, it's important to make sure that we are moving towards Krishna and not away from him by in any way criticizing the process of devotional service or criticizing the devotees who are around us. So I think I'll end with that, but I was thinking about it as you were speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. That's such a big, important part of associating. Prabhupada emphasis was on the pure devotee and acharyas, that kind of stuff. But I agree that that there's potency through association with those at our own level, or that and you're right that on the practical level. And I'm just repeating what you're saying, but I'm just trying to remember, so that I can apply it. On a practical level, it seems like the nature will, and Maya will come in, interfere and contaminate this association between devotees, and so to be aware and to be on guard and learn to. I mean, I'm trying to learn how to discriminate what should be discussed or what not to discuss, because I think that with devotees we want to have a clear connection, but sometimes learning how to, when things are bothering us, learning how to say it, learning what topics with a particular devotee to avoid. These are all coming with, as we all mature in our Krishna consciousness, we'll all get a better grasp of how and what to do between devotees on the practical level. I think that I noticed that when I have association with specific devotees, as long as it's about Krishna, there are no problems at all. Like if we're discussing things that we're reading, but when we start to deviate and start having topics about things that are not about Krishna, that's when, at least with myself, that's when all this other stuff, this junk, will crop up, and and so I think that myself, I just need to, with association with devotees, I think it's so very important to keep Krishna in the core of what is being discussed or what is being done. Otherwise, then fault finding and problems arise, I think. So the key is just trying to figure out how to keep Krishna in that relationship and not let other stuff contaminate. Thank you, Mataji, for bringing up that very important piece that you did.
Yes, Mataji, I will mention one or actually two other things and allow other devotees to speak. I think one fundamental thing which I always forget is to remember that even in our association with devotees, we are totally dependent on Krishna. Mm-hmm. So, what I'm trying to say is that it's important to discuss with devotees how we feel. And it's very important to discuss about the struggles that we are having in our Krishna consciousness or day-to-day life. Because ultimately there is nothing that is separate from Krishna. But I think, at least for myself, I still have not developed that intelligence of how to see everything that's happening in my life in relation to Krishna. So, but in order to be able to discuss those things with a devotee, sometimes we have to beg Krishna for that association, to find the right person with whom we can discuss and come out of that struggling phase. So I think even association with devotees or a close association with devotees comes only through prayer.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Thank you. Right. And it's only through Krishna, who is the supreme controller, that this pairing, like you said, finding someone that we can talk comfortably with and discuss our Krishna consciousness. But Krishna has that, he has that ability to pair us with someone. So, like you said, deep prayer, like you said, begging is important. I'm not sure. I know that Ruchi Mataji is on the line. I'm not sure if anybody else is on the line. Is anybody else there that would like to speak to anything that was said?
Well, I would like to just say that it is correct about devotees, but then also, like, we should take the best from everybody, and not consider the bad qualities of the devotees, because it may also happen the devotees might not be really perfect, and if we try to emulate or excuse our actions based on other devotees, that this person is a really elevated devotee and he did this, and so we can do the same thing. I think one should just look for the best qualities in everybody, whether a devotee or a non-devotee, because many times a person might not be formally a devotee, but he might be a very advanced person in a consciousness, and we should invite the best from everybody and reject what is not right in even the devotees or the non-devotees. So there is really not a set formula, because one can stay in the best association and gain nothing, and can stay in the worst association and gain a lot. It is all up to also, or it is up to also the association, but also up to the person about what qualities he wants to imbibe and which direction he is heading towards.
So, go on, please. Continue.
Yeah, even though it does get difficult in the if one associates with a bad person, to stay away from those qualities, because one does consciously imbibe them, but then it is also what consciously they are trying to do. So that also matters, I think. But it's not.
So you're saying intentions. What about intentions?
Yes, like if a person is like maybe he's in the best of the situation, but he just takes on the bad qualities of people, because it is easy to imbibe the bad qualities earlier. And to it is also about one's one direction that they are heading towards in life. It's like they are consciously heading towards um, righteousness, then they will follow it, and if not, then like, because many times devotees also have many bad qualities like anger, attachment to like materialistic things, and attachment to the worldly affairs and money, and attachment to like people, and they have anger, and they have um of course like I'm not even a devotee, but like some people might be very elevated devotees, but they might externally exhibit many negative traits which one can imbibe from them. So it's also about one's consciousness and intention, like you said, to like go where they are heading towards in life.
Right. I agree that non-devotees can have all kinds of good qualities, and some devotees can have all kinds of bad qualities. We're all influenced by the modes of nature. We're all on a path, hopefully, towards God, and I think that's the most important thing, is to discriminate. Is that person on the path to God? And then not only that, but there's all different kinds of destinations we're being told through the Vedas, that the way one who one worships is going to create a whole different destination. Like, I mean, just if we're even just talking about Krishna of Dwarka, Krishna of of Vrindavan. I mean, just how, specifically in what mood of Krishna that we're worshiping will lead us either to Vaikuntha or to Braj. And so non-devotees too, they're on the path to, they could be on the path to God too, but one has to understand, like, where are they heading? Do they even know where they're heading? And so whether they're devotees, non-devotees, whether they're prostitutes or elevated persons, our association with them is going to influence us and bring us along on their path if we are associating deeply with them. So yes, we can imbibe some of their good qualities, but I would just be wary, because where you need to know where you want to end up. You need to know your own destination so that you are imbibing those qualities and you are worshiping in the manner and to whom, so that you end up on the path that you want to be on. So I think I think that, like, it's all about intelligence. Like, right. So in my own mind, the best possibility is to find someone who is Krishna conscious, who has good qualities, and who is walking the path that I want to also walk, with the same destination in mind. So, so I agree. All different people have all different kinds of qualities, good and bad, whether devotee or non-devotee. But I need to use my intelligence so that that knowing that what we're learning is that we are influenced. We're going to be influenced by the association we take. So so thank you for sharing. And I'm just heeding a warning to myself and to anybody that might be interested in hearing, that you just need to know what your own destiny, where do you want to end up, and you need to find like-minded people, to walk along that same path. I'm sorry if I'm being too strong. I'm sorry. I'm a mother and a teacher, and I'm influenced by those roles. Right. Sorry. Right. Ruchi Mataji, I hope I was not, if I did not upset you by saying what I did.
No, Mataji, thank you for just elaborating on that. I agree with that everybody has good and bad qualities, and we are all trying to reach perfection, so we just are far away. Anybody else want to say something?
6 o'clock now. I don't know if anybody, I think it might just be the 3. It seems like by the end of the week. Or I guess maybe because Ramaputswamy is in town. Maybe that's why there's less people on the phone. Maybe there's a program tonight, I'm not sure. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm going, unless someone says anything right soon, I'm going to say maybe it's time for us to get off. Does anybody else have anything to say? Or Richie, did you want to talk further about what you were talking about?
No, Mataji, thanks. Just wanted to stress on the fact that it's up to us to imbibe, but also, yes, it is difficult to imbibe good qualities when we are in the bad company. So that is also true, and it is easier when we are in good company to imbibe good qualities. And
Right, right. We need to be in company of those who have the qualities to um, to gain those qualities ourselves, because we're affected by those around us. I'm just thinking of someone who is raised a certain way, and has certain qualities that are considered qualities that are that are good. Another person can look at those qualities, and think that those qualities are not something to seek after. So one has to discriminate and see, following the path of those that when you look at them, those qualities are ones that you want yourself. Okay, Hare Krishna, Mataji. I think Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.